Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis, and this is another edition of No Capes, where I talk about comic books that either don't have to do with superheroes and/or Ethan doesn't read them or review them along with me. First, I am going to talk about Revival, number 6, right? Yeah, number 6. Really, still 100% enjoying this comic. There's all these different storylines that are going on. You've got this major event that has happened in these people's lives with the revival of everybody coming, of some of people's loved ones coming back from the dead. And then you got these other little smaller things that are going on in between that may or may not be connected with the actual main storyline. This is what's called writing an awesome comic book and an awesome story. To be able to have this large, overreaching arc that ties everything together, this event that ties it all together, but at the same time, instead of it just 100% being about that, and so we always kind of, to some degree, know what's coming, you've got all these other little events that are happening because, that's how the world works. Even when something major is happening in our lives, there's lots of other little things that go on in that process. And to be able to capture that in an interesting way in a comic book is outstanding in my opinion. And this really does it. This, I guess, people have been calling a jumping on point. Yeah, it is kind of. You can get on the book here and not be horribly confused. One of the things I think is interesting about this issue and the inside cover, they kind of give you a synopsis of what's happened in the story. And if you read the letters page, the writer tells you why they've done that. They've done that because there have been some complaints from people saying, I'm confused, there's so much going on, and not a lot's getting answered right away, so how do I keep track of all this or whatever. So they've done that because the writer said, hey, look, I don't want to write a easily consumable book. He appreciates your straightforward superhero comic book as much as everybody does, but that's not what he wants to write here. He wants something that makes you think a little more, that you have to savor it as you digest it. My words, the consuming and stuff. Instead of it just being a fast food meal. And I really appreciate that. The thing at the front, I guess, is fine. I don't really feel like I need it. Matter of fact, I didn't even read it until I read the letters page, and then I went back and looked at it. But a great issue, kind of gives us, once again, an overscope of the larger picture that's going on. It's made national news now that these people are coming back. We finally get something that I was kind of curious about from the beginning. Someone tries to sneak their elderly parent into this area to try and hopefully when he dies that he'll come back. I kind of wondered about that when the thing first started. Like, wow, if you knew about some place where people were coming back to life after they die, isn't that where you'd want to be? Not run away from? Isn't that where you'd want to go to? So that's kind of cool for a little bit of that to be shown there. More with the ghosty thing and whatnot. The son of the police detective, he's trying to make friends. That's kind of cool and interesting. There's that plot that's going on. There's the reporter who, of course, had the camera phone with the pictures of this entity. This seems that she is deleting, which I find kind of shocking. All kinds of stuff in this. The wonderful cover. The murder mystery that goes on in it and the extra twist that's there. That's really interesting. That whole murder mystery that's going on right now is pretty cool. Excellent comic. Very much enjoyed it. I don't know. Did the art look different in this issue? I'm going to go back and look at some of their issues. There's just something about the art in this issue that looked a little different than in the others. And I'm not sure exactly what it is. Maybe it was a little bit simpler. Still really enjoying it, but maybe it was a little bit simpler. I'm not sure. Just something about it seemed a little different. I don't know. Anyway, that was Revival number 6. Good stuff. Get on Revival if you can. pick up the trade and then jump on with this issue after the trade, if nothing else. The cover of the trade is absolutely outstanding also. Next, I'm going to talk about, I know this book's been out for quite a while now, I'm going to talk about Bedlam number 3. First off, right off the bat, why with the boring covers? I mean, Fraser Irving is an awesome artist who can do some incredible stuff. I love his artwork, but this is kind of a dull, kind of a boring cover. I've seen a Comic Book Mom and Rorschach's Journals. They have a Phantom cover of this that looks awesome. It's got Matter Red on it. It's pretty cool looking. And it's actually visually interesting. Because this one really isn't very visually interesting. There's nothing about this that really, other than being dark, I guess. There's nothing a whole lot about this that makes me want to pick this up off the shelf if I didn't already know what it was. That being said, a fabulous issue as we get into the nuts and bolts of what this book potentially is about. Really. The first few pages are incredibly brutal if you love cats. Yeah, as we go back in the past and see Matter Red's therapy to making him better is incredibly brutal, but very effective. I think our main character, Mr. Price, who it's pretty obvious that he was Matter Red back in the day, is with the police now. Of course, the police think he's, and this detective think that he is the murderer, and he's just playing games with them. They break down this whole why the murderer is murdering people from Mr. Price's perspective, and it's very, very interesting. Makes you kind of wonder about Nick Spencer, who's writing this, to come up with this whole twisted thing that he has and whatnot. But still, if you like very intense, graphic, serial killer kind of thing with this kind of zany twist in this adult man who used to be a serial killer, now trying to help because he just thinks that's what a good thing is, and this occasional slip of the old Matter Red, I think, coming back, because every once in a while he'll be talking and you'll get a word balloon that is highlighted in red, and I think that's the old voice, the old Matter is somewhere floating around back there, cracking out occasionally maybe. And at the very end of this, awesome. The very end of this is awesome. That superhero's back, and we're gonna have a conversation. I'm so curious to see how the superhero is portrayed in this book. All things considered, the way the rest of this has been and stuff. Excellent, excellent book. Like I said, if you like a heavy psychological serial killer, psycho kind of a thing, this is definitely right up your alley. This is only issue 3. I believe that the issues are kind of hard to come by, but it's only 3 issues that you have to try and track down. Might really be worth it. The artwork in it works for this style and this story because it's got kind of a manic edginess to it that really works for the style there. Anyway. And then finally for this time, I am going to talk about Hellblazer, issue number 299. Next month is the last issue of this outstanding comic book. This issue had me really surprised through most of it. End of last issue, Constantine takes basically a shotgun blast to the chest and guts. He's dead. He's dead. At least it seems that way. Love this issue though. It has a lot of his wife in it. Piff, she is awesome. She is right now in comics my favorite secondary character, period. Period. All the comic books I read, most of you know I read a lot of comic books. She is my favorite secondary character in comic books right now. Just absolutely love her. She adds so much to the main character, and she is such a cool character herself. So this was great to read this through her perspective. There's a funeral, which is somewhat interesting and whatnot. They bring back Constantine's nephew that we just met a few issues ago. Not sure what I think about that. I hope that him being back adds something else to this book, that they didn't just feel like they needed to bring him back as some sort of a kind of a, because we have this character now, we're going to bring him back, because there are tons of characters in Constantine's life that aren't dead that could have shown up for this funeral and that sort of thing. And what they did with his nephew's life, to some degree, I think is unfortunate. I don't know that that story would have been told if they weren't ending this thing. So I'm not sure what the necessity of doing what they did with the nephew and the nephew's life in this book. I'm not sure that that was a needed thing to do, unless it adds something to the story. Like if it's going to add something to the next issue, the final issue. So I kind of hope it does. I hope it does, because then I won't be feel like that there was no reason to have done that, no reason to have laid the Constantine curse that we thought the guy had avoided. So yeah, hopefully there's something to the next issue that makes that have more meaning other than just, oh, let's just do it just to do it, kind of a thing. Really looking forward to the next issue, see how this all squares away and whatnot. I hope this ends how I want it to end. We'll find out when we get to that one. Still a lovely comic. I love the art style of Giuseppe Chemical, I guess they say it, and Stefano Landini. I really like their art style for this book. Outstanding Simon Bosley cover, once again, of Constantine and his wife laying in front of a tombstone that happens to have Biz's signature on the tombstone. Unfortunately, the cover gets kind of screwed by that Arrow cover, their Arrow ad there, but outstanding book, outstanding creators. Not sure what's going to be happening with Pete Milligan after this, because I know that they're moving him off of Stormwatch, one of the other books that he writes. I think he's still writing Red Lanterns. That leaves him just writing Red Lanterns. I think it's unfortunate, because like, the guy is a very interesting writer who has a lot of interesting things to say. Not everything of his is a success, obviously, but always has something interesting to say. So I hope we get to see more of him on some of this sort of titles, some sort of independent something or other. At any rate, that's it for this time, keeping them short. Soon I'll have another one with 3 books, or 4 books. Yeah, 3 books. Yeah, 4 books. At any rate, thanks for watching. Keep reading those No Capes books. There's lots of gorgeous, interesting, thought-provoking comics out there that aren't superhero-oriented, and we should all be taking it in to enrich and better our lives. Anyway, have a good one, everybody.